Hi, this is Rabbi Chaim Kaufman. Welcome to our 286th installment in the Torah portion of the week. We are holding my Parshat Shelach here in Israel. Outside of Israel is Parshat Baloscha, but we're still a week ahead. And Parshat Shelach is all about the spies, right? Story about the spies, Lashon Hara against the land of Israel. The fact that God's going to punish them, and they end up being in the desert for 40 years. You got the story of the libations. As well. So there's quite a bit over here to speak about. The Torah says, chapter 13, verse 26. It says, they went and came to Moses, to Aaron, the entire assembly, all the children of Israel, the wilderness of Paran at Kadesh, brought back the reports to them, the entire assembly. They showed them the fruit of the land. Right? Very interesting that after they went and spied out the land, they go and bring back. They took some of the fruits, some of the fruit of the land. So says Moed Rebbe, Arav Agon Moshe Moshlita should be well. Brings down in commentary in Chumash and Tam V'das, and it brings down the Targum Yonason. Now Targum Yonason, Aramaic translation from Yonason ben Uzziel, a great commentaries on Tanakh. And Targum over here says, what do they do? Well, they're getting this fruit. They acquired, right, with a strong acquisition. The strong acquisition, they took fruit. They took fruit from the land. So they speak Lashon Hara against the land, and they want to show what the land can produce. So they bring it back. They bring this, some of this fruit back. Rebbe explains, interesting thing. He says, Eretz Israel, the land of Israel itself, a lot of contradictions. Right? A lot of contradictions. He says you have forces fighting against each other. Two conflicting forces. Seemingly the forces of purity, right? Righteousness, godliness, and impurity. He says you got the power of holiness against the power of impurity. So he says the land is holy. Land is holy than all the other lands. That we understand. Because God says he's going to give it to the Jewish people. God says my presence will be there, even though the temple based on Mikdash been destroyed. Nonetheless, things in Eretz Israel, in the land of Israel, happen certainly above nature, no question. So it's the holiness of all nations. Now, just like you get the holiness, you need something corresponding, offsetting. I got the greatest amount of impurity, right? Even stronger, fighting against righteousness, holiness. So when the Jewish people over here, they're getting benefits from what? The fruit. Getting benefit from the fruit of the land. Yeah, so what? Like, what's the point over here? They need to be strengthened further so they won't go after the impurity. Right? Over here, they're saying they want to get benefits. They want to get benefit from the land. What's the real benefit? Spiritual benefit. Right? They don't want to fall into the trap of this negative, impure, right, aspect of the land of Israel. That is much stronger, and that can make us stumble, in fall, because we get too caught up in the physical. So what's going on? What's going on? So he says, why do they take fruit of the land? They want to get benefits. Want to get benefit from the land. Very good. We can't get caught up in that. Because if you get caught up in that, the other side will try and kill you. Now, we mentioned that where you have the greatest amount of holiness, which is the land of Israel, you have to have the greatest amount of impurity as well, right? You have to have opposing forces. Just so happens that opposing force of impurity really, really strong, right? So it's a mind-boggling thing. You see what goes on in Israel. You know, you got the left trying to make Israel like every other place, and we always say we're not going to speak about politics, right? But you see, they want to make Israel like everywhere else. It wouldn't be for the religious. It would be. You know, it'd be a lot worse. A lot worse. You know, they got rid of this government, thank God, previous government, that they wanted to change all kinds of things. Change things, you know, in kashrus and conversion, you know, many number of things. And I always see what's what's going on with all these demonstrations, right, against the government. It's a mind-boggling thing, these lefts. You know, they have power. They have a lot of power. Right? A lot of people in the country are leftists. They happen to be leftists, which is bad because they want to destroy Judaism. Their goal is to uproot Judaism. That's what they want. Right? But it's mind-boggling. They're willing to topple the entire country. You know, make protests all over the place. This government won with 2 million more votes. What are they afraid of? Everybody agrees in the land of Israel that you got to change the system with the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court interferes wherever it wants. Imagine in America, you know, anytime Congress passed a law, the Supreme Court comes and knocks it out. Way too much power. Not only that, how do you appoint Supreme Court judges in? It's not the president, you know, the prime minister decides, or the people decide. It's their own people. It's the people on the court. What does that sound like? Cronyism. Right? That is corruption. Everyone agrees. The left agrees. The left agrees. So what are they doing? Protesting all over and trying to get this government on its knees. What are they afraid of? Who's in power? Who put Netanyahu in power? The religious. Right? You got a religious coalition with the Likud. So if you added up all the parties, you know, all the parties, they equal the Likud. And how many votes? Right? More than half. It's pretty amazing. Everyone's afraid it's going to be religious coercion. You know, women are going to have to shave their heads. But they agree. The left agrees. If this would have been the other way around, they would have been beating people and putting people in jail left and right. It's the way it goes. Not saying it's right, but that's the way it is. That's what goes on here. Now, that being the case, why is there so much animosity between religious and non-religious? You know, they bring up the issue, you got to take responsibility, right? Religious people have to serve in the army, right? We're not going to speak about that. You know, they have a lot of issues against the religious. Oh, I get all this money for the government. You know, like we're taking so much money compared to everyone else. That's the problem. You're in the government, okay, you want certain things. You ask for certain things. Because you're sucking the government. Well, everyone else is also. They say, oh, all the money they give to yeshivas, drop in the bucket. The budget that they pass is drop in the bucket compared to what everyone else is getting. Why should we get equally? Because they'll say you don't deserve. You're not serving in the army. You're not doing anything in the country. Plenty of people working. Plenty of people, ultra-Orthodox Jews, are working. Right? But that's not really the point. That's not really the point. The point is they're fighting tooth and nail, day in and day out, to make the life of religious people a misery. Why? Say they're doing it for altruistic reasons. Share the burden. Yeah, they want us to be like them. That's what it means. They want to force our hand, so to speak. But the Rebbe here says, the power of Eretz Israel, you got the greatest amount of holiness, and there's no greater place to learn Torah than in the land of Israel. That everyone agrees. Nonetheless, what's the problem? I have an opposite force that's even more powerful. And who's that? The left. You know, it's a mind-boggling idea that you can have not idol worship, devil worship amongst Jews in the land of Israel. Devil worship. Almost every major city has it. You got to say, what about all the holiness? Yeah, there's a lot of holiness. In order to placate that Mr. S, the Sultan, even Konation, whatever you want to call him, you says, fine, Eretz Israel is the most holy of places. That doesn't change. God's presence is here, right? We don't see him directly, but there are a lot of things that we do see that are much more open. I'm not going to say miracles per se, but we see things here that the land of Israel exists by the mercy of God. No question. It wouldn't be for the power of Torah learning here. So, Israel would not have that divine protection. Yeah, you need a standing army. True. You always need a standing army. Okay, but you need people to sit and learn. Having people sit and learn protects. Definitely protects the country, no question. But according to nature, this country should never exist. It should never exist now. It's miraculous it exists now. But you have all these other countries wanting to destroy it. They have much greater manpower. Doesn't matter if we have nuclear weapons or what. It's a numbers game. If they want to attack from all sides, how could they defend them? Couldn't. There'd be massive, massive casualties. Massive. But see, where you have the greatest holiness, you have to have impurity at the same time. So there's always a constant battle that impurity wants to overcome. Wants to overcome all the good, and they fight tooth and nail. The leftists do anything. Do anything to uproot Judaism. They'll do anything to sell us down the road. Get rid of the land. Quote unquote, make peace with the Arabs. They'll do whatever it takes. Right? They don't care because they have altruistic motives. And the reality is, if people would be so open-minded, which they're not, but if they claim, oh, we're so more cultured, we're so much more open-minded than you, yeah, we're not claiming to be open-minded. Orthodox Jews do not claim to be open-minded. Let's make that clear. Right? We believe we're right. We believe Torah is right. We believe we have an obligation to keep it in the land, outside the land, but we want to make the land holy, not the other way around. And what do they want? What is the whole premise of the land of Israel that Herzl wanted? He wanted to be a land chofshi, a free land. Free land meaning we can do what we want. So what happens? He wanted Jews there also. In the land. He got lucky. Instead of getting Uganda or Argentina, you got Israel. Okay, I mean, it's not luck. Right? It's what God wanted over here, Jewish people to return. Very good. But his whole goal, and the goal of the Zionists in general, not too many Zionists left in the world, but the goal is to make Israel like any other place. Come on and tell me the Agra. Students of the Vilna Gaon, they came here first. It wasn't Jabotinsky and all them. They were here first. Right? The real Zionists. Students of the Gra, of the Vilna Gaon, blessed memory. One of them died of malaria here. Draining the swamps. They wanted to make the land holy. The Zionists wanted to make the land unholy, make it like everywhere else. And that, the end, the book of Leviticus says, if you don't do what I said to do, God says, I will spit you out of the land. Kaufman's language, chump don't want it, chump don't get it. So we're here to sanctify the land. If we don't do what we're supposed to do here, much worse. Right? So my Rebbe says, I'm not worried about anybody in Iran, Iraq, all these places that they're going to come and do all kinds of things. No. What am I most worried about? I'm most worried about Jews in the land of Israel that sin. Because if you're sinning in God's backyard, it's going to be 100 times worse. You tell me if I sin outside of Israel, it's also bad. You're right. It's also bad. But it's not in God's backyard. Look what happened to Sodom. Some of the commentaries say, why did Sodom get wiped out? You say because they're totally evil. Yeah. There's another factor. They were doing whatever they were doing in God's backyard, and God said, okay, that's it. I've had enough. You're not polluting my land anymore. And he wiped them out. They totally wiped them out. So it's not about, oh, who's going to invade, who's not going to invade, this, that. What's it about? What a Jew does in the land. The mitzvahs that they keep. That's what it's about. And there's a fight. There's a huge fight with the left and others doing the opposite. So maybe it says that's exactly what's supposed to be. Doesn't mean we don't have to fight against it. Right? Doesn't mean we don't have to continue to do what we need to do and to protect ourselves. But at the same time, you have a land that's got two polar opposites. I got the most holy place in the world, and I got the most unholy place also. Meaning, people are going to come and try and pollute it. And when they do that, that is the biggest danger in the world for Jewish people. Yeah. Sins are what cause the tragedy. God forbid. And when sins are done in the land of Israel, it's worse. If I tell anyone, any secular Jew, you want to come to Israel, you got to keep Torah mitzvahs. If you don't, it's going to be really bad. It's going to be bad for you. Right? It's not a threat, it's a reality. When you speak Lashon Hara, God forbid, in the land of Israel, it's 10 times worse. Yeah, when you do other things, other sins, it's 10 times worse. Imagine, God forbid, it already happened. God forbid there's a pride parade. They go through Jerusalem, the holiest city in the world. You don't think it's going to be serious payback for that? God forbid. So yeah, people should be out there protesting peacefully. When they go by, you're sitting and learning. You don't engage them. What are you showing? As my Rebbe would say, you're showing it's wrong. You got to stand up for Torah. It doesn't matter. They're going to listen, not going to listen. Sometimes, what's God going to say? Hey, no one protested. No one said anything. Even if a lot of rabbis say that's not the way today. That's all we should do. There are others say not that way. Even if nobody's going to listen. Because essentially, we have a Talmudic dictum. It's called Shtika Kahodadomi. If I'm quiet, it means I agree. Doesn't matter if they're going to listen or not. Right? So yeah, something like that, and nobody says anything, oh, that's going to be, God forbid, really bad. One thing, you want to do it wherever you do it, it's one thing. I mean, it's bad, yeah, but that's one thing. You flaunt it out in the open. And you're saying, look what I do. Look what I represent in the holiest city in the world. You don't think there's going to be payback for such a thing? You're going to say, well, just bad did in Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv's holy also. Right? Jerusalem is a lot holier. That's why everyone's going to make a protest when they do it in Tel Aviv. He says, you don't mess with Jerusalem. You don't mess with Yerushalayim. Anyone who's ever been to Israel knows. You go to Tel Aviv, Haifa, Tiberias, any of these places, and you come to Jerusalem, different ballgame. Totally different ballgame. Why? It's just the stones? No. It's not just the stones. Right? It's that wall that's there. That remnant of the Beis Hamikdash. That holiness that makes the whole city holy. Could be a lot of unholy things going on in the city, true. Maybe true. Yeah, but at the end of the day, what do I have? You have the holiness fighting against the impurity. So we got to bring more holiness. We got to keep Torah better. We have to do mitzvahs better. But there's a constant battle. The pretty amazing thing. You got all these parties. All these political parties. It's a constant battle. Constant battle to keep the coalition together. There were 3 stalemates before somebody came and ganged up on one person and took the left with the Arabs and gave them power. Disaster. First time in history such a thing. Here in Israel. An absolute disaster what they tried to do. You're relying on the Arabs to boot? Relying on Arabs in your own coalition? The ones who want you, to die and, they want to bury you in the sea and take all the Jews with you? What they want? So, you're going to say, well, maybe fighting an uphill battle, maybe. But we still have to do what we need to do. But that's the reason you have such animosity in this country. Such animosity between religious and non-religious. You say, come on, not everyone's that hostile, but there's an undercurrent. You can't tell us what to do. We don't want you closing streets. We want to live the way we want to live, and that's that. But, again, what did the forefathers bring here? They brought this heresy that the land is important just for the sake of the land, but we can do whatever we want. So we hold the land as holy, but you have to make it holy, keep it holy by keeping Torah mitzvahs, not the other way. So what you see is an unbelievable thing. We just want to be left alone. We want to be left alone. They make wars, against the ultra religious, like we're the problem. The Orthodox Jews, they all exempt from the army and nobody works. Not true. Totally not true. You're right. A lot of people don't do the army. Who says nobody works? We got to share the burden. Okay. Right? They want to be said. Right? But again, that's not the topic. But they have a lot of issues. It's amazing. There'd be inflation, other things. Who gets blamed? We do. You need a scapegoat somewhere. Or someone say something going on. Yeah, of course the Haredim folks, they're not working. It's just not true. Totally not true. Plenty of other Orthodox Jews work. Legally. But you have to have that fight. Why do you have to have that undercurrent? Exactly what Mary Beer said. You got two opposite forces. Right? The force of the evil inclination over here is on its last legs here. And it knows it, so it's trying to get as much done as possible. Make sure we have it so much more difficult. Right? Gonna make it much more difficult. But you have to ask the question, why is there such animosity? So you're going to say it's because we don't do this and we don't do that, we don't do the other thing. No. I mean, some of it could be an issue, but that's not the real issue. What's the real issue? Read the, Herzl wrote a book, right? The Jewish State. And he makes clear, I want a state of Jews. I don't want a religious state. Not interested in a religious state. Want Jews to settle here, so there shouldn't be persecution, all Jews live together, blah, blah, blah. Very good. But what's his goal? And what's the goal of the Zionists? I don't care if they're more right-wing, doesn't matter. What's the goal of the Zionists? Even though there's nobody left of them. What was the goal of the uproot Torah mitzvah? That was their goal. That was truly their goal. They could have ransomed off thousands of Jews, saved them from the Holocaust. They didn't want to. Why not? They didn't want the old European Jews bringing their old ways to the land of Israel. We're the new Jew. We're the new Israel. They let them die. They got a lot of blood on their hands also. But why didn't they want it? Because the goal of the land was what? To keep it secular. It's like you have Torah without mitzvahs. It's like body without a soul. Land of Israel without Torah mitzvahs, nothing. Nothing. But that's the reason there's such a dichotomy. Such a strong dichotomy, because you could ask the question, okay, you want to live your life one way. They want to live their lives another way. Live and live. Why not live and let live? No. People get all aggravated. They're agitated. It bothers them. You say, well, politics, you got fights on both sides. This is different. This is different than any other political fight. Why? Because it's based on the heart of the matter. What's the heart of the matter? It's Torah mitzvahs. One group wants to uphold Torah mitzvahs, sanctify the land. The other side wants to have nothing to do with Torah mitzvahs. Absolutely zero. They want to do whatever they want. Right? Someone had a great idea many years ago, for the sake of conversion, we want to make a secular conversion. What in the world is a secular conversion to Judaism? Person swears their allegiance to Judaism on Hemingway? On what? What makes a Jew a Jew? Torah. Mitzvahs. That's what makes him a Jew. I mean, his mother has to be Jewish, obviously. But that's what makes him a Jew. Without Torah mitzvahs, nothing. Get a strong feeling. Good, cardiac Jew, right by heart. Okay, so pass that down to your kids. Your kid says he likes chocolate, you like vanilla. Convince him to like vanilla. Forget it. They like chocolate. You're not going to convince them to like vanilla. But that's why you have such a raging conflict all the time. All the time. Yeah, it's not about live and let live. That's not what it is. They don't want to let live and let live. They want us to go. They want us to stop keeping Torah mitzvahs. They want us to be leftists like them. That's why they want us to join the army. It's not just about, sharing the burden. They want us to be like them. That's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. Our goal is to sanctify the land as much as we can. That's our goal. And they want the land to be unholified, right? Unsanctified. And that's the way they've always been. Imagine a generation of Israelis learn, quote unquote, Tanakh. They don't know anything about it. They don't know anything what's behind it. Someone made a comment. Some of the government made a comment. I happened to hear because I was on a bus and the news was on. Talking about why should religious people get money, from the government, or why should they all sit and learn? So many people sitting and learning. The Vilna Gaon, go to the Vilna Gaon. The Vilna Gaon, wasn't he a master of mathematics? Did he know astronomy? So why can't you learn secular things? Where did the Vilna Gaon get all this information from? More than 250 years ago. Where did he get all this information of science, astrology, mathematics? The Gemara, the Midrashim. Yeah, but here you have an ignoramus, total ignoramus. Saying, look at the Vilna Gaon, this, that, Right? They shut him up. They totally shut him up. He got so offended. I read to my opinion about Judaism. I'm also a Jew. Come on, you're in our territory now. Yeah, you want to quote something, Torah mitzvahs, know what you're quoting. Know what it is. Don't just throw something out there. He's an idiot. Total ignoramus. Yeah, you're going to come and try and say, oh, see, do this, do this. I read an article on Wikipedia. No. Come on. Not about live and let live. Because if we said something against them, they'd slaughter us. They say, tribal, we're going to put you in jail, this, that. They're not interested in our opinion. Good, we're not interested in theirs either. We can't have both ways. Cannot have it both ways. You can't make a statement about Judaism that you don't know anything about and don't expect no one's going to say anything. Right? We would never, out to Orthodox Jews, they said something, never get away with it. Never. Chief Sephardi rabbi made a comment, a while ago, about all the non-Jews coming from Russia. They want to put them in jail. Slander, libel, this, that. He goes, what are you guys getting so upset about? I got all the information from, where I got the statistics from. Your Jerusalem Bureau of Statistics. Not about live and let live. He's talking facts. Those are the facts. You didn't get it from the Gemara. You didn't get it from Midrashim. You didn't get it from Halacha, from the Central Bureau of Statistics. So what are they complaining about? They want to hear it. They don't want their information rammed down their throat. Thank you very much. We're not claiming to be open-minded. But the truth is the truth. When you're grasping for straws and you want to make a point of something you don't know anything about, so Goblin would say you keep your big mouth shut. But they don't. They incite all the time. All the time. So again, we'll ask the question, why? Live and let live. No, they're born and bred with this hatred. Because the whole point for them is to uproot Torah mitzvahs. You represent the truth, they don't want that. So Rebbe here says, that's exactly why you have this dichotomy between the greatest amount of holiness and the greatest amount of impurity. I want to remind everyone I have class on Duties of the Heart every Tuesday, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. 2 Q&As, Tuesday and Thursday, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Israel Time. Pirkei Avos, Ethics for Our Fathers, every Saturday, 2:30 Eastern Time, 9:30 Israel Time. Sunday, Book of Leviticus, chapter 16, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 4 o'clock Israel Time. No Hide Nations, back on with No Hide Nations, 2:30 Eastern Time, 9:30 Israel Time. On Sunday, just started the introduction to Duties of the Heart. I also have conversion classes. Anyone interested in any of this, find me on Facebook, Michael Chaim Kaufman, or Beyond Orthodox Conversion in Judaism, or orthodoxconversion.com, or Beyond Orthodox Conversion Judaism on YouTube. So there I have Torah portion of the week, videos, I have Q&As, I have Pirkei Avos, Ethics of Our Fathers, controversial issues. You want to send me an email? rabbichaimkaufman@gmail.com, RBBIChaimCoffman@gmail.com.